A guy I know, Derek, 26 years old, buys something new almost every single week. New shoes, new gadget, new hoodie. He told me the rush lasts about a day, then he's already scrolling for the next thing. That's not shopping, that's a hamster wheel, and he's still running. Same story with Jake, 31. Open his closet and half the tags are still on. Drawers stuffed with things he swore he needed, worn maybe once, forgotten by the following month. He couldn't even tell you what's in there anymore. Sound familiar? Here's the deal. I've got 10 micro habits that pulled me off that exact wheel, and they'll do the same for you. Nothing extreme, no crash diet for your wallet. Small, specific moves that add up fast once you actually put them to work. But here's the part nobody says out loud. Careless spending doesn't just drain your bank account. It steals years off your future. The house you wanted at 30, the trip, the freedom to quit a job you hate. That's the real price tag. Think about how many hours you actually traded for that paycheck. Early mornings, a boss riding you, maybe a commute that eats an hour of your day both ways. You earned that money through real effort, so watching it vanish on stuff you forget existed within a month is almost disrespectful to the guy who worked for it, you. So let's name the thing. Your spending, when it's out of control, works exactly like a hamster wheel. You buy, you get a quick hit, it fades, and you buy again, faster each time, going nowhere. Every tip in this video is about one thing, getting your feet off that wheel and onto solid ground, for good. Tip 1. Run a full spending audit. Go back 3 months on your bank statement and actually look, line by line, where the money went. I did this in a video a while back on building a real budget. If you haven't watched it, that's your homework. You cannot fix a leak you refuse to look at. When I did mine, 3 categories bled me dry. Takeout I barely remember eating, sneakers I already owned 3 versions of, and grooming products I bought because the packaging looked cool. Write your 3 down right now. Not vague guesses, actual categories with actual numbers next to them. That list is the map to where your leak is hiding. Now dig one level deeper. Ask yourself when the urge actually hits. For me, it was almost always boredom. A slow Tuesday night, nothing exciting happening in my life, and suddenly I needed new gear to feel something. That craving was never really about the item. It was about a life that felt stagnant, and buying something new was the fastest fake fix available. So here's the question you ask yourself right before you hit buy. If I'm being completely honest, what problem am I actually trying to solve here? Am I bored? Lonely? Trying to feel like I've accomplished something today? Because a new jacket has never once fixed loneliness, and deep down you already know that. Now hold on to that thought, because later on I'm going to show you the one habit that cost me almost 2 years of slow financial progress before I finally figured it out. And once you hear it, you'll probably realize you're doing the exact same thing right now. But we've got some groundwork first. Tip 2. Get honest about what you actually value. Not what looks good in a story post, what genuinely makes you feel like your life is moving forward. For some guys that's travel. For others, it's owning a home outright by 35. Instant gratification and long-term satisfaction are almost never the same purchase, and you have to pick one. And let's kill a myth right now. A budget is not a cage. Nobody's asking you to live like a monk. It's a plan built around what you personally care about, so the money that isn't going toward your values gets redirected toward the stuff that actually makes your life better. That's freedom, not punishment. Here's where my own values landed after doing this work. I stopped chasing objects and started chasing memories. A road trip with 3 buddies, a flight to see my brother, a dumb weekend I'll still be laughing about at 50. Nobody on their deathbed asks to see their old sneaker collection one more time. You think buying new stuff is about the item. It's not. Studies on impulse purchases show most of the excitement is gone within about 72 hours, 3 days, and after that, the thing just sits there collecting dust in a drawer. That thrill you were chasing was never actually in the box to begin with. Not once. Tip 3. Redirect some of that money into yourself instead. A course that sharpens a skill you'll use for the next 20 years beats another hoodie every single time. Learning to negotiate, learning a trade skill, learning to actually cook so you stop ordering delivery 4 nights a week. That's money that compounds instead of collecting dust in a closet. There are platforms built exactly for this. Skillshare is one a lot of guys use, with thousands of classes on everything from finance to photography to fixing your own car. You don't need a degree to build a skill, you need an hour a week and the willingness to actually finish what you start watching. If money specifically is your weak spot, look for a class that walks through the fundamentals step by step, the kind that covers building a real financial life in maybe 5 clear stages, from your first budget all the way to your first investment. You don't have to figure this out alone through trial and error like most of us did. Here's a pattern worth noticing across a lot of these learning platforms. The earliest movers usually get rewarded. A lot of them cap a free trial month at the first 500 people who sign up on a given day. Whatever platform you choose, showing up early and actually using it beats sitting on a wish list forever. Tip 4. Run a low spend month or even a full no spend month. For 30 days you only pay for true essentials, rent, groceries, utilities. No new clothes, no gadgets, no random online cart at midnight. It sounds brutal for about 4 days. Then something interesting happens. You start noticing how much you never actually needed in the first place. Make it realistic though, or you'll quit by day 6. If you know you'll run out of shaving cream, plan for it. If you know you'll want 2 new books, factor that in ahead of time. The goal isn't suffering for the sake of suffering. The goal is finishing the month, feeling proud, and actually trusting yourself with money again. Tip 5. Do a brutal, no mercy declutter. Pull every unused thing out of your closet, your garage, your drawers, and put it all in one pile on the floor. Don't sort as you go, just pile it up first. What you're about to see is going to be uncomfortable, and that discomfort is exactly the point. Now do the math on that pile. Add up roughly what you paid for it all, even rough estimates. For a lot of guys who try this, the number lands somewhere between $2,000 and $5,000 in stuff they forgot they owned. That's not a typo. That's a used car sitting in a garbage bag. Here's the reframe. You don't actually value most of what you buy. If you did, you wouldn't be able to throw so much of it away without blinking. What you value is the 10 seconds of dopamine right before the purchase. Once you see that clearly, it's almost impossible to shop the same careless way again. Tip 6. Build yourself an actual no-buy list. Write down the categories you're done spending on. Maybe it's a 5th pair of white sneakers, maybe it's another energy drink flavor, maybe it's yet another phone case. Putting it in writing turns a vague intention into an actual boundary you can point back to when temptation shows up. Pair it with one simple rule. You're not allowed to buy a replacement until the current one is completely gone. If your body wash still has product in the bottle, you don't need a new one, no matter how good that new scent looks online. Finish what you own before you're allowed to own more. Alright, remember that habit I said cost me 2 years? In a minute I'm going to hand you the exact trick that finally killed it. A wish list method so simple you'll wonder why nobody taught it to you sooner. But first, let's talk about why you're even doing any of this to begin with. Tip 7. Set real money goals, specific enough that you could write them on an index card. Not save more, that means nothing to your brain. Something like a fully funded emergency fund or a down payment by a certain date. A goal with a number and a deadline is the only thing that makes saying no to a purchase feel worth it. If you've never done any of this before, your first goal is simple. Build an emergency fund. 3 to 6 months of essential expenses sitting untouched in a separate account, just for the day your car dies or you lose your job. Only after that's built do you move on to paying off debt faster or investing for real. Tip 8. Track your spending every single month, not just once during a New Year's motivation spike. Look at where the money actually went. Compare it to last month and adjust. Maybe you blew way too much on delivery apps this time. Fine, that's useful information, not a failure. Next month you fix that one number. There is a genuinely addictive feeling in watching your savings percentage climb month over month. It turns into a game you actually want to win. And on the months you slip and overspend, you'll catch yourself staring at some pair of pants you don't even remember buying, thinking about what that same money could have done sitting in an investment account instead. Okay, this next one is the habit I promised you earlier, the one that actually changes everything, the one that cost me 2 wasted years before I built it into my life. If you only take one thing from this entire video and actually use it, make it this one. Here it comes. Tip 9. The smart wish list. Here's how it works. When you want something, you write down the exact item and the maximum price you're willing to pay. A hard line you refuse to cross, even if some sale tries to tempt you higher. That price cap alone kills a huge chunk of impulse spending before it even starts. Then you add a waiting period. 3 weeks is the number I use, and I'd recommend the same for you. You write it down, you put the list away, and you do not look at it again until those 3 weeks are up. No checking, no browsing it late at night. Out of sight until the timer runs out. Here's the part that actually surprises guys. Most of the time, when you finally go back and check that list after 3 weeks, you don't even want the thing anymore. It fades on its own, no willpower required. What's left standing after 3 full weeks is usually a real need, and those are worth buying without a second of guilt. If this is landing different than the usual watered-down advice you scroll past, that's not an accident. It's what this channel is built on. Subscribe if you're actually trying to build a life you respect instead of a closet full of regrets. I put out exactly this kind of talk regularly for guys who are done running on that wheel. Tip 10 starts once your 3 weeks are up and you still genuinely want the thing. Before you buy anything, research it properly. Don't just walk into the first store or click the first link. Spend 15 minutes comparing options. That 15 minutes has personally saved me real money more times than I can count, and it costs you nothing but a little patience. One trick that works shockingly well: screenshot the item and run it through a reverse image search. Half the time you'll find the exact same product on a different site for less, sometimes with an actual discount code stacked on top. It also helps you tell a genuinely well-made item apart from a cheap knockoff wearing the same photo. You think buying cheap saves you money. It usually does the opposite. Buy a $40 pair of shoes that falls apart in 4 months and you'll buy 4 more pairs over the next 2 years. That's $160 for garbage. One solid $100 pair that lasts those same 2 years just saved you real money and looked better the whole time. There's an old saying that nails this perfectly. The poor man always buys twice. It's not about how much money is in your account. It's about the habit of chasing the cheapest option over and over instead of pausing to research and buying the right thing one time. That single mindset shift alone will save you thousands over the next decade. Here's the reframe that actually stops me at the register more than any budget spreadsheet ever has. Take the price tag and divide it by your hourly wage. $25 an hour means that $80 jacket just cost you 3.2 hours of your actual life, sitting in traffic and answering emails, gone forever. Do that math standing right there in the store before you tap your card, and watch how fast the excitement drains out of a purchase. Nothing kills an impulse buy faster than realizing you just traded 4 hours of your one and only life for something you'll probably forget owning by next winter. Tip number 11, and this one takes less than 10 minutes to fix for good. Unsubscribe from every marketing email and text alert clogging your phone right now. A guy named Marcus, 26, sat down one Sunday and unsubscribed from 32 different mailing lists in one sitting. He told me his urge to check for deals disappeared almost overnight, because the urge was never really his to begin with. Delete every shopping app off your phone today, not tomorrow, today. The one-tap checkout feature exists purely to bypass the version of you that thinks twice before buying. If you know you're the type to cave, block those sites entirely through your phone's screen time settings. Marcus did this too, and said his boredom scroll now just ends in him locking his phone instead of a full cart. Tip number 12 is about breaking a habit most guys never clock as a habit. Browsing stores when you're bored, not when you actually need something. Picture a guy named Diego, 29, who moved to a new city for work and didn't know a soul. He started wandering into stores 3 or 4 evenings a week, not because he needed anything, but because it felt like being around people. The fix that actually worked for him was almost stupidly simple. Instead of driving to the mall, Diego started calling a friend on video chat and going for a walk around his neighborhood instead. Same craving for connection, same feeling of being around another person, $0 spent. Within 2 months, his card statement shrank in the exact categories he used to blame on boredom, proving the store was never really the point. Tip number 13, and this one saves real money without costing you a single friendship. Swap out the constant restaurant dinners and bar tabs for cheaper ways to hang out with the people you love. A group of 4 grabbing dinner and drinks twice a week can easily drop $300, and it's forgotten by the next morning. That's not connection, it's an expensive habit wearing a social costume. Here's what actually replaces it without losing the closeness. Cook a meal together at someone's apartment. Split the cost of ingredients 3 or 4 ways, and you've spent maybe $15 each instead of $60. Bring a bottle of wine and some snacks to a park or a beach and watch the sunset instead of a bar tab. You get the same laughter and memories, and still walk away with money in your pocket. Now here's the one that quietly drains more money out of guys than every habit we've covered so far combined, and almost nobody clocks it as spending at all. It doesn't feel like shopping. It doesn't feel like a purchase. It shows up disguised as scrolling, as a notification, as a number that creeps up on your bank statement while you're too busy living your life to notice it happening. Tip number 14. Limit your exposure to social media, because every single platform is engineered by people paid specifically to make you want things you didn't want 5 minutes ago. One creator does an unboxing, the next reviews a gadget, a third shows off a trip, and your brain quietly starts building a shopping list out of other people's highlight reels. A month away from these apps alone can drop your spending without you even trying. If quitting social media completely feels unrealistic, at least get surgical about it. Go through the accounts you follow and mute or unfollow every single one that consistently makes you want to buy something the moment you see it. You don't need to nuke your whole feed, just stop feeding yourself dozens of small temptations a day disguised as entertainment. Awareness alone changes the game here, because once you see the pattern, it loses its grip on you. Tip number 15, and this is the one that quietly wrecks guys who are actually winning at their careers. It's called lifestyle creep, and it means every time your income goes up, your spending rises right alongside it until you're making triple what you used to and still living paycheck to paycheck. A promotion at 30 that bumps your salary by $15,000 means nothing if a bigger apartment and a nicer car eat every extra dollar. Here's the fix, and it's uncomfortable because it asks you to feel richer without spending like it. When you get that raise or that new higher paying job, keep your spending exactly where it was for at least 6 months before you upgrade anything. That gap between what you earn and what you spend is where your emergency fund gets built, where your down payment gets saved, where your future actually gets funded instead of your ego. Remember that hamster wheel from the start, buying and buying while the craving resets the moment the package arrives? Every habit on this list, all 15 of them, exists for one reason: to get your feet off that wheel for good. It's not about depriving yourself of joy, it's about redirecting your money toward a life you're genuinely excited to wake up to, instead of a closet full of things already collecting dust. If you've got a habit that broke your own spending cycle, one I didn't cover here, drop it in the comments below. because someone reading it might need that exact sentence today. 15 habits, one wheel, and now you've got the whole map to step off it for good. If any part of this actually landed with you, subscribe, because this is the kind of straight talk about money and life I put out here regularly.